Hey guys, thanks for listening to a new episode of Who You Were. Before we get started, I just want to say we want to keep this podcast free of advertisements. So it'd be cool if you could go to patreon.com/Patrick Noth. Give like $1 a month if you like the podcast so we can keep it going and keep it free of ads. Plus that money will go to independent projects that I do. So if you like any of my videos, I can make more and work more on my own stuff instead of for, whatever, Turner or Viacom. And we'd really appreciate it. We like to do it. It takes a lot of time. Thanks to our producer, Lindsay Bonell, who's helped us a lot because Sebastian and I are idiots. So this episode coming up is with Abbi Crutchfield. You may recognize her from Comedy Central, Broad City, The President Show Special, TBS, True TV, and NBC, and now most recently CBS. So I'll play the episode, and here we go.
Welcome to Who You Were with Patrick Noth and Sebastian Canelli. In each episode, we ask our guests to talk about a time in their life when they were significantly different.
How you doing?
I'm great.
Good to see you.
I'm looking forward to spring. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Looking forward to spring?
Yes.
Where are you from?
Indiana. And I get allergies around springtime, but just like the winter weather, I don't know. I'm over it.
Me
really?
too.
It crushes you? Isn't Indiana cold?
Indiana does get cold, yeah. But it's a predictable cold. Like I haven't been there in, almost 2 decades. Lived there regularly,
Yeah,
So I feel
yeah.
like coming up, back when I was a kid, seasons were more predictable than they are now.
Interesting.
Climate changes.
Yeah, I heard about
affecting
this.
things a little.
I don't know. I'm not sure whether to believe it or not.
Oh
yet.
my God.
Well, it's not.
Shut up.
I don't think it's something you can put your finger on, but anytime you instinctively feel a little off, I think it's fair to call it climate change.
Yes. I'm joking.
Yeah.
I believe it's real. As soon as you see the video, I just want to go on record. I'm gonna make myself vulnerable right now. I think climate change is real. Come at me.
Yeah. You're just opening a can of worms right now.
Yeah, a lot of
Did
our
you
listeners.
see that video where they show like the ice caps and then they show what they were and what they are now?
No.
Oh.
I don't like to see stuff like that.
Terrifying.
God.
Yeah.
How could someone watch that and think that nothing's going on?
And just polar bears dogly paddling. And,
Yeah.
so sad.
How could they say nothing's going on?
I don't know. Have we started?
Yeah, we always just
I
like
don't know
hit
how you do
record
roll
and then
into it.
We
Cool.
roll into it. We usually like talk a little bit.
Great.
No, I'm gonna make them cut the climate change shit.
Yeah.
I'm very sensitive
It's
about
not
it.
good optics.
He does a climate change tangent almost every episode, and
That
he
you
asks
have
me to
to
cut
cut
it.
out.
And I flip flop every episode. I'm back and forth. I never know what I want. Never know what the truth is.
Right.
And that's a true learner.
You guys see that Flat Earth documentary?
You know I
No,
did.
it's a whole documentary.
Yeah.
I saw CBS Sunday Morning special on flat earthers.
There's so many.
Yeah.
There's so many.
They're out there.
It's
Yeah.
wild. It's wild. B.O.B., a rapper. Do you know B.O.B.?
Yeah.
Yes.
So he created a rap because he's a flat earther.
Okay.
Right? So he created this whole rap.
He
And
created
then-
a rap.
He created a rap, not because he's a flat earther, but he created a rap about being a flat earther.
They say write what you know.
Yes. Oh, yes. And so he
This
did.
is his, yeah.
And
milieu.
then Neil deGrasse Tyson came back at him
Oh.
with a rebuttal rap
Yeah.
that the earth is round.
Wow.
It was
rap
so cool.
beef.
Yeah.
Wait, he
I
rapped?
missed
Neil
that.
deGrasse Tyson rapped?
He did it on like I think on a talk show, and then he like dropped the mic.
That's cute.
Yeah, it was
He
cute.
should just auto-tune himself.
Just like his voice?
Yeah.
Just like,
The universe. Yeah, whatever. Any fact he says, if it's auto-tune, I think would be catchy.
he drives me crazy.
Yeah.
Because I think he's just mean.
Oh, I mean, that's the problem with pretentious people. I mean, with knowledgeable people, they can come off pretentious. And they probably are because,
Yeah.
they have the knowledge that others don't.
They have a reason. Well, signs point to that they're better than me. So it's like, why is this guy acting like he's all nose up in the air and he's better? Because he is. He has discipline. He learned shit.
That's why I don't like to poo-poo flat earthers, because I can't sit there and debate with them of why they're wrong. I just
Sure.
know they're wrong.
That's true, yeah. Like, I have no fucking idea.
can't-
I know the earth is round, but I don't know why.
Well, there can't be enough people in on this conspiracy theory. There would have to be thousands and thousands of people
Right.
keeping the secret.
I've heard that argument being made
And
for sure.
secrets can't be kept.
Not well.
Please.
That's true, yeah.
My mother calls me every other fucking day. She's so excited to tell me, your sister told me this, but she doesn't want you to know.
Wow. You get it. You heard it here first.
Yeah, she just wants to gossip.
So she
Yeah.
wouldn't be privy. If the earth was flat, they wouldn't tell your mom.
My mother would, if my mom got her hands on the JFK assassination, it would be
Yeah.
a whole new fucking
It'd be,
Sunday
she'd blow
morning.
the lid off the
Did
Pope.
you guys see the Unsolved, not a documentary, a show about the Tupac and Biggie murders?
No.
I haven't watched it yet.
Okay.
Is it
well,
good?
then I loved it.
Okay, I'm going to watch it.
I loved it, and I feel completely satisfied.
It's a conspiracy. It talks about the conspiracy around it.
It talks about why it's so complicated that all these theories surfaced, and who are the actual people in real life who chased the theories and what they came up with.
I need to watch it.
So yeah, without the obstruction of actual justice system getting in the way, you get to develop your own theory, which is I think great.
I remember I saw something about the Tupac guy, like a detective who was like, it's this dude. Mm-hmm. And then did you guys hear that Eminem diss? I don't know. I forget the guy's name. But at the end of it, he says he basically accuses Puffy of hiring a hitman to kill Tupac.
Yeah.
Which is so crazy.
Yes. Yeah.
I need to watch this.
You
That
should
sounds
watch
awesome.
it and then we'll talk.
Yeah, it's trending now. I see.
Yeah, I'm so behind on everything that's trending.
I know.
There's so many things I need to see, like Us, the movie. Anyway, go on. What?
Oh, yeah, we were
This
just
is
talking
your
about that.
show, you guys.
No.
I
Well,
don't give a fuck.
we
You
love
kidding
it.
me?
I'm just gonna gab.
We love
I
Tanner.
saw Us last night. It was fire.
Cool. I
You
want
gotta
to
go
see
see
it.
it.
Yeah,
It
I
was
want
awesome.
to.
I really liked it, and I forced my theory on Sebastian.
What movie theaters you go to?
Let's
Brooklyn?
see. I like the Court Street Theater.
Oh, me too. That's where I
You
went.
can be as loud as you want in that
I
one.
know. I smoke weed in the theater. That's how you know I love the theater.
It's run by kids. It's like
Yes,
That's how you know I love it.
it is awesome.
no one
you
in
do
there
it in
is over the age of 18, which I appreciate.
No, I love Court Street. I see. Sometimes I get excited the more people are in Court Street. And last night it was packed.
Nice.
People. There was one woman having a full conversation. She went to the movies alone and was having a full conversation to herself during the movie.
Wow.
Which is fun for certain movies. You don't want to go see A Quiet Place there.
No.
No, but Jumanji or fucking that
Exactly.
stuff.
Exactly.
A scary movie is perfect for a crowded vocal audience.
Yeah, anything where you get to cheer or scream is
Yes.
Have you guys ever been to like a opening night of like an action movie, and there's people who go there and with the specific purpose of like saying something funny during the previews?
Yes.
Of course.
And
Yes.
like everybody laughs, and like you could tell they're just like that's their thing.
I
You know what
Right.
I mean?
Yeah.
And
As a comedian, it makes me roll my eyes, but it's like, let them have their moment. Why
Yeah.
not? It's fun. It's fun.
I mean, literally, as soon as they do it, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna do that next.
When I saw Rampage, something happened. The big monkey, he took there's a bunch of monkeys, and the
haven't
biggest
seen it.
one, he does like the sex sign with his fingers at one point, and a guy stood up and he goes, "That monkey wants to fuck." The guy stood up to tell the theater, and I go, "Yes."
He's in a great mood.
Everybody lost it. He it killed.
I like Court Street too, or it depends on the movie.
Guys, welcome to Who You Were. My name is Patrick Noth.
What's up? I'm Sebastian Canale.
Oh, you know what? I forgot to ask you what. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the show, Abbi Crutchfield.
Yay! Thanks, everybody. Wow. Great crowd.
You might know her from True TV. You might know her from I Remember College Humor. You used to
That's
do a
right.
bunch of college humor stuff. Well, we didn't ask you. We usually ask what people want to be credited with, but I
a
thought of
stand-up.
two
You
just
can
now.
That's great. Boom. That's
She's
what they might know
stand-up.
me from. They might know me from the internet. I tweet a lot at Curly Comedy.
At Curly
That's
Comedy
your
on
handle?
Twitter.
Uh-huh.
Nice. Yeah,
Did a
follow.
little stuff with People. Did a little stuff for New York Magazine. A lot of stuff.
That's awesome.
Yep.
Yeah. Well,
Samantha
thanks.
B.
Samantha B.
Samantha B.
Recently booked a Colbert credit under my belt.
Nice.
Whoa.
So you'll see me. You'll soon know me from Late Show with Stephen Colbert. Late Night. What is
Night.
it? Late Show.
Late Show.
The Late Show with
The Late
Stephen
Show.
Colbert.
That show's great. I love Stephen Colbert. He's such a nice guy.
Yeah, he's super nice. I met him
He's
one
got a
time.
good rep. Oh, you've met him. I've never met him.
Yeah, I just met him. I used to work at the theater at UCB, and I worked like the door back at Chelsea.
Mm-hmm.
And his son went to a show, and he was just standing outside waiting for his son. So he just like stood next to me,
That's so funny.
and we just bullshitted.
Yeah.
And it was so nice. He was telling me he was in town hanging out with Steve Carell,
Yes.
and he was telling me, he goes, those are the times I miss, is just sitting with my friends. Mm-hmm. And he goes, it's so nice to have a weekend where I get to just sit with my friend again.
Yeah.
And I thought
Makes
that was so
sense.
beautiful. And then we talked about other bullshit, not comedy stuff. which I actually find the most interesting.
Just Gristides.
Yeah, Gristides bullshit.
Gristides.
We talked rye over whole wheat.
There you go. As you
Hey, look
do.
at the rye's on sale today. He's a fucking huge fan of sales.
So yeah, I do like a lot of little things around town.
That's awesome.
Thanks.
Cool. So in this podcast, we asked a comedian like a time in their life they thought they were different. Did you think of one?
Mm-hmm.
You did?
Yeah.
Yeah, you mean like I was on a different path to be a different grown up and things like that. Yeah, probably the most different moment or area of my life was in college because I had just finished studying foreign languages in high school and had studied abroad in high school in France.
Where in France?
Bretagne, Brittany.
Brittany. I've heard of that place before.
And yes, it's the West Coast, I think. It's like the little arm out.
You have no idea how satisfied I felt because I knew that place. I know fucking 3 places in France, and I go, I know that one.
Thank goodness. I know. I hate when I read a book and I see a city in France I've never heard of, and I'm like, oh, I'm so uncultured. So yeah, as I was kind of developing my identity, I was thinking like, I'm gonna live abroad or work abroad. And then I went to Georgetown in the School of Foreign Service. And so it felt very official, like this, I am being trained to either work for the government or work internationally. And all of my classes had international in the title, like international finance, international government. Yeah. And so my junior year, I studied abroad in Florence, Italy, and in Paris, France, this spring. So the winter was Italy.
I know where that one is. Paris.
You heard of Paris? Yeah.
Not the other one.
It's pretty dope.
Sebastian's not impressed.
No, I've been to Paris. Come on.
I like that French geography determines how cultured you are.
Yeah.
You could all just memorize it right now.
So Western, I know. So that was it was, and then while I studied abroad, like when I was in high school, I had a crush on this guy, and then we reconnected when I was in college, and I was an adult now, so we just were dating, and I was planning my life out. I was like, oh great, I'm gonna learn what life is like in France now that I'm fluent and know everything about like the day to day. I thought I had it all figured out.
Are you still fluent?
I would say so, yes, but I barely use it. Like I just performed at Stand Up New York for expats who are French, francophiles or francophones, excuse me. So they're like from Canada, but they're also from France and they live in New York.
Okay.
And it didn't seem like they needed this show to happen because they all live here and they speak English.
Yeah.
But it was just fun. It was like a familiar environment of people talking.
Did you call them francophones?
Francophones, yeah. Is that a French word?
I have no idea.
Don't we say it in English?
I've never heard it, but I like that term.
French noise
people
makers.
who speak French. Yeah, there you go. I think a francophile is just someone like me who loves French culture, but a francophone is someone who speaks it.
Did you? Well, first of all, I don't know much about like international, like studying internationally. What is like the ultimate goal? Like a diplomat of some sort, or
I think what the idea I was forming in my mind was interpreter, but I only pictured interpreters sitting at the UN next to dignitaries.
Right.
I didn't really know in what capacity you could use that skill, but I had just taken a foreign language from grade school age, and so like everyone was always like, "Oh, you're such a natural at this stuff." So I picked up like French, Italian, Spanish when I was in college,
Awesome. Wow.
but I had to pass fluency tests in French and Italian.
Wow!
And
you're the only American that knows another language. You know it?
Yeah, that's truly remarkable.
I know it because it's super lonely. Like nobody ever wants to, even the people who that's their native tongue, they don't want to use it with me here in the United States.
Anywhere else you go, they speak at least 2 languages.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't even know English words.
Yeah.
I fuck up so bad all the time. I'm so bad at language.
Yeah, it's tough. It's a lonely
tough.
existence. So,
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
What school in Indiana was like, we need to teach you all these languages?
let's see. My mom let me do a summer class when I was 8. So that was not a school. And then,
why'd you want to do that?
Did we ask what part of Indiana?
It was fun. Indianapolis.
Okay.
The capital.
The
Of
capital.
course. Come on.
And
It's the only place I know besides Gary.
nice. So at least you know it. I try to stick with things that only you know about.
Thank you.
I don't want to put on airs.
The one rule is I can't fucking look stupid. Everyone has to perceive me.
Yeah. You will announce your faults. I can't shed light on them.
No, please don't. I have an image to keep up, and it's of a well-mannered red man.
Understood. And so, so then I went to like a public school, middle school, where I learned Spanish and French. Like you were allowed to take 2 classes. And then in high school, I went to a private school, and that was like more intensive.
And you liked it.
You had to do the study abroad program. I loved it. Yeah. I took to it right away.
You said my mom let me do this. So
yeah.
You looked
she
into
thought
it.
of it. No, she thought of it, and I lit up. Like it was just one of those things I randomly was like, that sounds fun.
What did you like about it?
That it made sense. That like I had already I think Pepe Le Pew. I had been exposed to Americanized French culture, so I had a concept that there are people overseas,
right,
who speak a completely different language. And I still feel this way about every language, especially in New York. If there's somebody who, even if it's not a language I speak, if they look like they need help, with directions or like with a customer service person understanding them, I try to go to like some really basic root stuff that I understand about the culture and try to and I know hello in a lot of languages too. So it's kind of, it's
you
probably not
that.
as helpful as I think I'm being. But for me, I think the idea of connecting, because we're all the same species, so I feel like we all should be able to communicate.
Awesome. That's like I feel like that's such a like selfless thing to be excited about. You know what I mean?
Maybe.
And then you became a comedian. I don't know what happened.
There might have been some ego involved in it because like nobody else could take to it, and it made me feel like I was playing pretend. Like, oh, I'm French now in this like little play. We did The Wizard of Oz, I guess, at the end of that summer program. And we all had our scripts in front of us. So who knows if we were pronouncing the words correctly. But, that was the whole thing was about like get these kids familiar with the words, and the teacher would explain if you had a question about a concept. Yeah. And I could tell other kids did not care at all. They were, bless you. They were just, grinding through it.
Right.
So
I would like it if you had just said Pepe Le Pew. It was Pepe Le Pew.
Pepe Le Pew got me into it. He's a sexy, sexy skunk who was misunderstood.
He was great. He would be very problematic these days. Pepe Le Pew.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They say that with language, the earlier you start, the better you are at it, right?
Yeah, I try to speak. Right. I have a daughter, and I try to. And before we get into it, I don't like share her name so that she can have her own like life on social.
Okay, I won't say it.
You can call her Abbi Jr. if you want.
Abbi Jr.
Abbi Jr.
So yeah, so with my daughter, people are like, oh, you're going to teach her your foreign languages, and it's like I try. I just repeat phrases, or I will do the alphabet with her daily. But I'm usually doing it the way you teach a middle schooler. Like I'll say it in English and then I'll say the language. But I feel like if she was totally immersed, like if she had just a nanny that was always using Russian with her, she would pick up quicker.
I know some dude whose kid, he only plays the TV in Spanish. Mm-hmm. So then the kid only thinks TV's in Spanish.
That's really cool. Yeah, it's the same concept. Immersion. Just like that's the only thing they hear from that source is this language. I think it's a great way for them to understand.
That's pretty brilliant.
I didn't have any concept of that. My grandma spoke Swedish.
Oh, cool.
And she lived in the house, but I just ignored it.
You probably picked up on what she was saying.
I know one song.
And what it means?
Yeah, it means go to bed, little kid, go to bed, or else I'm going to have to hit you.
It's not a song, dude. Not that wasn't
Sweden,
a song.
Not the peaceful nation we
No,
thought.
but not hit you. I'll give you a little tap. It's an old...
Yeah.
She would be 150 now or some shit. Yeah.
Wow.
It's also like
no, not that old.
She would be 150
no,
now.
she'd be like 100 something.
She was 120 when you were a kid growing up. Isn't there's parts of Mandarin that you need to learn before a certain age, right? Like you can't say certain things, I guess. Like you can't pronounce certain things. I've heard it.
How you're tone deaf to certain tones and pronunciations.
I heard it. I don't know if that's true. I just pass it along as true information.
I remember I dated a guy in college who was Lebanese, and he was trying to teach me different pronunciations. And like there's like a letter A is ah, and then letter double A is like ah, and I would try it, and he goes, "There's no, it's yeah." He's like, he'd point to his throat. It's in the back, ah, and he would keep doing it, and I thought I was doing it right too, and he's just like. You're
never
hopeless.
Gonna get it.
You're hopeless.
It sounds like a guttural noise he was making.
I mean, you had to hear him do it. You're hearing me do it.
Can you roll your R's?
No, I can fake it. Like if I'm doing Spanish alphabet term, I'm like ere. Like I just end up like putting more breath behind it, but I can't just sit there and go like with my tongue. Yeah,
I can do it.
You can do it, no problem. I have to like put my whole body into it. And I'm faking it.
So you met this guy.
In France?
Yeah.
Or are you talking about the Middle Eastern?
Well, you were like, I'm
Lebanese
setting
guy.
up my whole life.
Oh yeah. So yeah, when I studied abroad, I was living in those cities and feeling like I was in a bubble. Obviously, I was protected by an institution like the university, but I chose to get a bank account, and I had to go to the pharmacy and get prescriptions. And what else felt very adult? I didn't pay rent, but I did like watch the guy I was dating apply for a job and, go through interview process and get hired to a job. And, I navigated the train system to get to see him at his job, and so all those things as a young person, like as a fresh from being a teenager, felt very adult and very like, I can do this. I can handle acclimating to a different culture.
They also say like there's a certain maturity that comes with living abroad. I mean, I don't know. Sebastian, you think so?
I never had the opportunity to. I did have the opportunity, but I liked partying, so I didn't know if there was partying.
Do they
abroad.
party?
Partying abroad, my goodness, they do it so much better than we do.
No, but not like my scumbag friends. Do they have a Honda Civic we could sit in for 5 hours?
Probably. I mean, like I was
talking
friends with
real party.
Yeah, I was friends with townies when
Really?
when I was and some country folk and stuff. So yeah, there was a lot, and then I also knew like affluent families who went night clubbing and like the room is full of what do you call it, like LED lights before the United States got them, and people be dancing on cubes and just spilling drinks. Like I've seen like a lot of different pretty much all the European cliches,
Like the parties, like the high party, the high and the low parties.
right?
Now, so what did you think you were going to be like? What was your life look like? What would your life had looked like if you had been successful?
Well, there was a giant question mark. I didn't know what kind of job I would get. And so I was applying for work just to kind of make money anyway. There was a girl in my study abroad program who was making friendship bracelets and selling them in the subway just to make extra cash.
Oh my God.
So obviously if a police person came along, they would just shoo her out of the way.
Yeah.
But I wanted like a legit job. So I would research them. I forget even where you could look, not monster.com, but maybe even Craigslist, like whatever that version of was in France.
Right.
Look up jobs, and then they would be like, okay, you're not a native speaker, and they just weren't impressed. They were like, you have no experience in this realm, and so, I think my boyfriend at the time was like, just be an au pair, like just do childcare, do dog walking if you really want a job. And I was like, no, it has to be like an intellectual, I want an office job here.
I want an adult job.
I want an adult job.
Yeah.
And so, I also I was consuming a lot of French films, and like Monica Bellucci was this woman who acted in Italian and in French and maybe even English films. I think she had done this one with Morgan Freeman and Gene Hackman. Do you remember that one?
This is John Belushi's sister.
Monica Bellucci. She was just like, I was captivated by this woman, and I thought, that's the life I want. So I thought, okay, I'll be in film. And so, like, towards the end of my stay there, I tried to take, you take electives in school. So I tried to take some acting classes. And the one I thought I signed up for ended up just being about masks. It was about, I thought it was
You
like,
did mask work.
I thought it was like makeup and tech. I don't know what the heck I read about it.
Yeah.
But I thought I was going in to learn how to do makeup and talk about film and maybe even like rehearse some scripts. But instead, this woman spent the first whole class being like, what is a mask? And it was like a philosophy class. And I like raised my hand. I was like, are we ever going to be making masks? And she's like, yeah, eventually. But that's at the very end of the study.
I think at the first class, she's just like ripping masks. And that wasn't me either.
I just was like, I opted out of it immediately. I was like, oh, this is completely different. This is all about theory,
right?
And whatever. It wasn't, and it was in the School of Performing Arts. I think that's why I thought it was going to have more to do with acting, but it wasn't. It didn't involve that. And so after like school was finished, I figured, okay, well, I'll come back to France. He and I will still be dating, and I'll just apply the way you do to NYU. I'll just like read a monologue and get in. And I either had a conversation with, I think I talked with this guy who was outside. I was like looking at flyers about this school, like, oh, what can I sign up for? And just like the bleakness of it all hit me about how hard of a grind it is if you don't have like nepotism or money.
Yeah. Sure.
Also, like if you're a foreigner. So it just felt like it was going to be starting from scratch. It wasn't going to be this wave I was riding into French film and television. Like, I just could tell this is a really hard world to break into.
That's such an ambitious thing, too, to be like, I'm going to fucking break into French television.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But that's even how I approached stand-up. I was just like, I went home and I was like, I don't have any prospects. And, I have a brother who's a lawyer, a brother who's a doctor, a sister who works for the government. And I need to like forge a path that sounds legit. So I'm going to be a stand-up and here's how I'm going to do it. I'm going to be famous in 4 years because I'm going to be booking and featuring and headlining. Like whatever.
Right.
You just think intellectually, you learn the plot points and then you can just fit yourself in.
Yeah.
And I had no idea about the psychology behind it and the actual like lottery system that it is.
Right.
And
Totally.
the odds being so against me. I just felt like, oh, I'm in total control. So
Well, you need to have some sort of crazy like that to do shit.
yeah,
To get started.
absolutely.
You need
I
to
do
be
agree.
delusional a little bit.
You gotta be delusional and you gotta believe in yourself,
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
nobody
Blindly.
I was so
Yeah.
sure of myself besides me. I was
Fuck
like,
yes, you know how
trust me, I'll
dumb
get it.
I am? I'm walking into fire every day and everyone's saying go home. I go, where's home?
Yeah. You give yourself no option.
Yeah, fuck that.
But okay, so that semester ended. That was junior year. Senior year, back at Georgetown, I had to kind of put my money where my mouth is. And a lot of, even my roommate was going to career fairs. And I was like, career fairs? I don't know what I want to do. And she was just like, yeah, for your government job. I would attend mixers of people who worked in foreign service for a living and just be like, I don't get along with any of these people. Like, what are they talking about?
Yeah.
And just like the boringest, they would talk about the news and I didn't read the news.
Yeah.
And so I had one guy who, I called him a friend back at the time, but now in hindsight, I think he was just interested in me. He was just trying to date me.
Yeah, that would be all guys who wanted to
Talk
be your
to
friend.
college students. Yeah. So this guy that was my friend worked for the CIA. He was an analyst. He was older. Like he was 40 and I was 20, which is obviously like a red
He
flag.
was 40?
I think so. He looked 40. I don't know. I don't want to insult the man. He could have been 32. But he seemed very old. And he was like,
Very old.
stick with me, kiddo, and I'll help you get into the CIA. And I was like, now you're talking. That sounds legit. That sounds like something my family could be proud of. But, I filled out an application and they were like, congratulations, you made it to round one, whatever the heck round one was. Now let's get some people in your life that can speak to like what you're really like and also include your transcripts and stuff like that. And it was either like my grades, my SAT scores, or people speaking about me that made them go, yeah, not CIA quality.
Oh my God.
And that was the last straw. I was like, man, if this isn't going to be easy, I don't want to do it.
Wait, the CIA? Of course that's not easy.
French film, the CIA.
Are you kidding me? You were pissed that getting into the CIA wasn't easy.
Yeah.
So
That's unbelievable.
I had no concept of, yeah.
next year,
So-
like,
I
and
got-
then I tried to break into the French CIA.
Are you? This is wild. Do you know I once didn't get a job at an Applebee's? And you're coming to me to say life's hard because you couldn't be in the fucking CIA?
I hadn't been humbled yet, Sebastian. I was just like riding off of straight A's and people
Right.
liking me.
I failed an oral drug test. That means that you have to do drugs within the past 12 hours.
And you knew it was coming up. You
surprised,
knew it was
yeah,
I
coming
knew
up.
it was
went
coming
ahead
up.
with it.
I
Yeah.
knew I was getting a drug test, and I thought I timed it right. So
Oh,
yeah,
my
you're a
God.
risk taker.
no, yeah, but I think I'm gonna apply for the CIA. Is that cool? Yeah.
I mean, maybe
Fuck
he was
yeah.
blowing smoke, but he just was like, "You're a perfect candidate. You should go for it." And so I went for it. It didn't work out. So by the time I left Georgetown with a degree in foreign service, I knew I didn't want to use it, and I hadn't taken any steps to like take the foreign service exam or sign up for grad school. I knew I didn't want to go into more schooling.
Right.
Down a path I didn't understand and found people to be not like my personality at all. And so at home, I checked out the local open mic scene and bonded with some of the open micers.
In Indiana?
In Indianapolis, yeah. And
Do you know Brian Franchi?
Maybe.
He's an Indiana boy.
Cool. I'll have to look him up, see if we're Facebook friends.
He writes for Adam Ruins Everything now.
Oh, cool.
So
Nice.
But
He's
it
in the
doesn't-
true family, as they say.
yes, in the true fan. It just felt like you guys probably definitely.
might have.
He's a stand-up, so you definitely have cross paths.
All right, cool.
Because I know he still
He's
goes
here in New
back.
York.
No, he's in LA.
Oh, nice.
He used to be in New York.
Maybe
He was
she's
in-
lying about being from Indianapolis.
You wouldn't know. Maybe I do work for the CIA.
Oh my
This whole
God,
thing is
no,
a cover.
No.
So yeah, I don't know. Also, so let me just tell you like a
Uh-huh.
domino effect of like, okay, I'm not in the CIA. I got to go back home to Indiana. I have no direction.
I'm not in the CIA.
I was working as like a substitute teacher at my old school, a waitress at an Italian restaurant, a cocktail waitress on the weekends, and doing dinner theater for fun. So I was trying to figure out like if I really want to pursue the arts as a career, then, you know, if like government isn't for me and I really seem to like creating and performing and writing, maybe I should check this out. And I did the local open mic and then broke up. Like the French guy and I just, it was too tumultuous and it didn't work out.
And was long distance.
First of all, it was long distance. Secondly, I met him when I was 17 and then dated him again when I was 20. So, you know, when I was a child. But so all of that led to like, okay, I'm just going to save up and move to LA or New York and see what happens. Yeah, see what happens.
And how'd your parents feel about that?
I think they were both supportive on the surface. I think they also were both. I mean, my mom was the more guiding voice in my life, and my dad, I just kind of told him what was going on in my life. Like, hey, I'm doing this now. And he'd be like, interesting. But my mom would be like, okay, I mean, don't get a drug habit. That's what she just thought. Like, if you're entering into this world, well, here's what I know about that world. John Belushi, she would think.
That's a pretty solid piece of advice if you're going into it.
But I thought it was funny at the time. Like, Mom, you know me. But yeah,
But then you developed. Now you're a heroin addict.
Yeah, and I'm doing okay.
Doing great.
Sure. That's beautiful.
So you came to New York. At what age? 21.
How old was I? 22.
22.
Think. Yeah.
22.
And you were just going to open mics.
Yeah, I had gotten up to feature level, which after having performed for a year. So that's not a good indication that I had like the skill set, but it is one that I had like guts and people believing me. And so as a result of having featured at like comedy clubs in the tri-state area of Indiana, there was a man who was managing me and he was like calling me constantly in New York. He was located in New York, but I think I had been recommended to him by somebody who booked a comedy club in Indiana. So he was taking me to Caroline's and introducing me to, I think, Charlie Murphy at the time, rest in peace, and just like excited for me. But then weeks would go by and I would be too afraid to like leave my apartment and go out to do an open mic. And he's like, what have you been up to? What, you know, because I was like guns blazing when I first got here. And then I just started getting scared into my shell. Sure. And he just kind of disappeared. Like the less motivated I sounded, he'd be like, you know, you got to do this work yourself too, you know? And I'm like, yeah, I'm getting to it.
Was it just overwhelming, the scene?
It was like, no, it wasn't the scene. It was the city. I think it was like even though I had lived abroad and I was totally ready for New York, I don't know. I guess social anxiety started creeping in where I didn't feel like I knew anybody. And the one, like Luke, my current husband. Oh. My husband now, but who then was a friend / boyfriend. Like we were early in our dating when we both moved to New York. He was the only guy I knew. So I spent a lot of time, and he was much more driven with open mics.
You knew him prior?
I met him at the comedy club in Indianapolis. So right after school, I started doing that open mic, met him there. 8 months later, we started dating, and then moved to New York soon after that.
I guess I knew he was from Indiana, but I didn't put it together that you guys knew. So he was the only person that you knew in the city?
Right.
How did that change?
Well, when we go to mics, I would say like, don't tell anyone that we're dating, so that I can be my own person. I need to establish my brand.
Yeah,
you know?
For sure.
I don't want them to be like, oh, Luke, and your girlfriend. And so we stopped going to shows together all the time as I felt more confident and would just book things differently, and then, you know, connect back later in the night for dinner and be like, here's what I experienced. And it was also like a ton of like self-consciousness sunk in and like, oh my gosh, this is so much harder than it seemed in Indiana. Sure. Yeah. Like the shows didn't have built-in audiences. I was doing like a weekly mic in Indy that had paying audience.
Right.
Yeah.
And I was on a stage and there would be an announcer like in the wings being like, and ladies and gentlemen, Abbi Crutchfield. Yeah. In New York, I was like doing daylight coffee shops.
Yeah, maybe describe that when you first start doing mics in New York, just for listeners who may not know.
The very first show I did was not a mic, it was a bringer. And so I had to agree to bring some people. And I remember Michelle Buteau was on stage. So I don't know how many years ahead of me she was, but it seemed like, oh my gosh, the people on stage are the kind of people you would see on TV. Mm-hmm. And I have my jokes, you know, and I had been doing them for over a year in Indiana in different venues, you know, and actual comedy clubs. But for some reason, being in New York Comedy Club and having to bring, I think my family came, I forget who else was part of the bringer, and having them get charged $5 for water. Like, it was so, it was just it felt not legit. It felt like I paid to pretend to be a comic here in New York. Yeah. So I was like, I'm not doing bringers anymore. I just got to check out the mic scene. And through the mic scene, I started to get to know people who booked shows in the city. So that felt a little bit more legitimate of just like, people are going to look at you while you, like people who aren't comics are going to look at you while you tell your jokes. And we're going to get your credits right and applaud you off stage. So it felt more like what I came up in.
Right.
But the mic scene was very, it was disheartening. It was like people wouldn't look at you while you performed because they're all, and
they're all stand-ups.
they're all stand-ups. And the comedy I was subjected to was,
right.
undeveloped. So it was awful. It was just like, oh my gosh, how do these people have these thoughts? And they're just saying them out loud. What's wrong with them?
You're like fresh from Indiana. So, but you hear, but like they see you, bookers see you, and then they eventually approach you pretty fast and they start booking you to shows.
And open mics, it's more like peers that have been doing it 4 years ahead of me who also would hang out at these mics. You're 4 years in, you still do a mic. They would say, hey, I produce a show, or that was a good joke. I produce a show here. Like, and I started seeing the value of networking to get out of that world.
Interesting.
Go ahead, Sebastian.
Oh, would you learn if jokes were good or not from your open mics?
Yeah. If I had the confidence to tell them. That was the problem with people not looking at me the same way, like with the ambiance being fluorescent lighting at a Potbelly, or
Sure.
Where else was I performing? Like there were like New York Comedy Club had a mic, but and then sometimes mics would have people reviewing your jokes afterwards, like giving you notes. Like that was part of the structure of the open mic.
Why?
I remember at Gotham when it was run, it was if you showed that you were listening and said, I like your joke about penguins. What if you added giraffes? If you showed that you were listening, you would get allowed back in. If you didn't have and this guy would be in the back.
Oh my God.
Checking off your name of like, you participated. And so that was one kind
He's
of
like
mic.
the principal of Gotham Comedy Club.
To some degree, I don't mind.
I loved it, actually. It felt like
Yeah.
a safe space to like have your ideas heard. It was like a punch-up session more than it was a mic.
Yeah, sure.
And so like eventually if I was confident enough to tell the joke the right way, I would do it. But also let me paint the picture that you guys already know about. You're traveling farther from your house to get there.
Sure.
The weather's awful. Sometimes, it's cold, it's rainy. Yeah. If you haven't barked your way in of like doing, standing out on ticket sales, like standing out on a sidewalk to get people to come, and then you're finally doing your spot. Then you go all the way home. You're dead tired. You probably haven't had dinner, and you have to wake up in the morning and do whatever day job you've got going to make sure you pay your rent.
Yeah.
So a lot of that was just like, it was wonderful that I lived through it and learned about it, but it definitely was a different picture from what I came up in Indianapolis, where my rent was paid because I lived with my mom. I had a meal anytime I wanted it.
Yes.
I had her credit card, so if I wanted to eat out, I would eat out,
Yeah, that's a different world.
Yeah.
It is maybe as hard as French cinema or the CIA.
Yeah?
Yeah.
It's like as many years. It's like so hard.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work.
Being in it was very intimidating, and I realized at 4 years in, I'm a lot better than when I started, but I'm at the bottom of a huge mountain. Like, I realized how much longer I had to go.
Well, I was going to ask, is there a point where you're like, oh, this is not as stable as I thought? Because you're obviously very confident, but you're like, oh, I'm not necessarily, like, there's a lot of people here.
Yeah.
This might not be like a sure thing.
No, that didn't happen until probably last year.
Oh my God.
Like I finally admitted to myself and said, I don't have this figured out. I don't control this. Like, I finally let that go just a year ago.
Wow.
And then it's like, well, can you still be in this knowing that you might not achieve the thing that you wanted for yourself, but can you look back and say, I have accomplished a lot and I really enjoy it as an art form and as a business? And the answer was yes, so I still kept with it.
Still do it.
Wow.
I also applied to work at TJ Maxx, but also, but they wanted references and I was too embarrassed to ask anybody I've worked with to reference me.
Sure. I don't have a resume.
Yeah.
If I was to apply for a job now, I don't know. I would know.
Yeah,
everyone
what would
say
you
no.
say?
I haven't had a job in 7 years.
Yeah. Well, but you have worked in entertainment, so that would be on the resume.
I guess so. But they gotta go, great, you worked 2 days that month, then you were off for 3 months, and then you worked a week.
This episode has been Sebastian announcing how bad he is.
I just got the impression that that's what he always does. Like, that's
my
what's
thing.
fun.
No, that's not.
I think he's just
my shittiness isn't what's fun about this. That's
But
what's
you're
fun.
not. But you haven't gone anywhere. I don't mean that. I mean,
I haven't gone anywhere.
No, I mean you're not going anywhere. I tell it to myself. I'm like,
oh yeah,
okay, if nobody's calling and I don't have a job, but I'm not leaving the business. Like, I choose when I'm out and I don't want to be out yet. So I'm still here.
Yeah.
You know, that's, I think, perseverance and just,
You feel like you have a choice to leave?
Yeah. I don't know what I would do, honestly.
See, for me, I guess I would do construction or some shit, but I'm too soft and too weak. I think I would just fit in there, but also I'm going to be too old. I only have 2 more years that I could quit and do construction.
Yeah, then you're a secret shopper. I mean, there's a ton.
Oh my
in
God.
America, there's just a ton of opportunities for people to make a living, even if it is a part of a pyramid scheme. Like,
have you ever done that, secret shopper?
No. I've looked at, you look into things of
yeah.
just like, well, without a real like education in something, without a skill set. And I don't want to put down people who do this, but it's usually families that like are already raising their kids. It's like women who, maybe their education is way too far behind them. So it's like, well, what can I do now to make money? There are plenty of things you can do to make money.
I want to
So
be
you're saying I can quit.
And you should.
Thank you. Oh, yeah. Thank you so much. Okay, Pat. I'll catch you later.
It's been nice, everybody.
Yeah, it's been dope.
I want to, you know what? If I ever leave, I'm going to be a house sitter. That's the gig that I want.
Fun for you?
That's the gig that I want in the Bahamas.
Yeah, because you can just live different lives and see what it's like
Just sit in houses, get the mail.
Get the Wi-Fi password first. Oh my gosh, it's not worth it if you
That's
can't.
a job.
If you can't log in.
So just chill at a house?
Yeah, chill at a house.
Yeah, it is
Yeah,
a
I'd be
job.
pretty good at that.
It is a job, and there's no bad job, as as we learned from the Trader Joe actor incident. There is no real job that is shameful.
Right.
If you're making money for your family,
Yeah.
it really doesn't matter what you're doing.
No, yeah.
But I think that the whole point of staying in entertainment for me is like I've tried to assess what my skills are. I'm a faith-based person, so like what are my God-given gifts? You really have to think hard about that and tune into what that could be.
Yeah.
And if you found anything that you think fits that mold, then it's like, well, how can I pursue it?
Yeah.
So I don't think that working in retail would be me pursuing it, but shoot, if that's where I ended up, I still think I could be entertaining people and like, making connections with people.
I think about that too. I'm like, well, I'm still going to be creative no matter what.
Exactly.
So that's so anything's fine.
Yeah.
You might even be more free with your creativity if it wasn't fucking...
I think so. Yeah. If you take the pressure off of what you have to be and what you need to accomplish.
Yeah.
Because it's weird, because sometimes you're like earning a living and doing really well, and then other times you're like, it's like this scarcity thing, and it's like at a certain point you just, like you said, it's just like accepting that maybe not, I don't know, but I like it.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a fun crossroads to be at. It's not a fun conversation to have. Sure. You feel like you're on the edge of despair, and you're like, oh. But when that passes, and you're like, okay, I'm still here, I'm still alive.
Yeah,
I have my health. I have people in my life that love me.
You set goals?
No, and I
really?
think yeah,
you seem like a type of person that would.
Well, I'm open to it now. I mean, maybe I've got like invisible goals in my mind, but I don't like setting them. I don't like being one of those people that says like I have it all figured out and this is how it's going to happen.
Sure.
Because I feel like there's no humility in that, and there's no room for things to change.
For flow.
And then if it doesn't work out, then it's like, do you then have to call it failure that it didn't work out that way? I think, I'm okay with being disappointed, but
in my mind, just sitting here, I'm still, I feel like I'm like, you're going to be a film star in different languages.
Thank you.
Just because I feel like
it might happen. You don't know.
Yeah.
Life is long. I mean, like, you never know. It might be in a really weird capacity, like I'm on a children's program in the Ukraine. But
yeah. Oh my God.
Who else can do that though? Nobody does that anymore.
Yeah, you never know.
That's a specific skill set.
I love it. I think it's awesome. I mean, Bradley Cooper is fluent in French, and you'll see him do these little interviews. And yeah, maybe he's not in movies made by BBC or whatever, but if he wanted to be, I'm sure they would let him do a cameo.
You must love language so much between stand-up and like being like a foreign
foreign
let him finish. Let me show you how little I know about language. Hold on. A foreign in a different place.
Yep. Well, as a kid, what I always used to say was I was going to write and illustrate children's books. As an adult and having like friends that are actual published authors, I see the difficulties of that, career.
The spelling. Yo, don't please! I'm already stressed. I'm sweating just thinking about that.
I mean,
which do you put down?
Pop-up book, or do you choose one of those
pop-up? Oh my God!
Felt-covered touch and feel books.
Yeah, these are the hard questions.
So yeah. Anyway, all that to say, I wanted art and creativity and writing have always been like something that was fun for me as a kid. But language has to
be such a calling if you keep connecting to that.
I hope so. I mean, yeah.
Because stand-up is
I
just
try to
your
stay in
words.
touch with the people that speak different language.
Do you
I
think,
do wonder how to incorporate that more into my act. I've got like 2 bits where I speak a foreign language.
right? It's like Pepe Le Pew and
It's about my affair with Pepe Le Pew
the
in my
classic, that classic
mind. Yeah.
So what do you think your life would look like had you not like made that decision to change?
I mean, where could I actually be because I think that I would have buckled under the pressure of not feeling like comfortable in some government job.
Did you know that when you were doing it?
I just the more I researched about it, like tried to take it seriously, the more I was put off by it. Like, I don't want to do that.
Sure.
Even who even knows if I could have qualified to do it. I'd like to think that, yeah, I had like the aptitude and the self drive to like follow through and do it. But I was in a mode of pleasing other people and completing tests because it was required of me. So after college, nothing was required of me.
Yeah.
I was like, I was in a free fall. I'm like, who the heck am I? What am I supposed to do?
Yeah. Do you think it would have been easier to get in the CIA than it is into comedy? I want you to just let the world know.
I mean, I don't
think you could have gotten the CIA.
I have this theory
Okay.
because I have friends that work in the government.
Yes.
That line of work attracts a certain type of personality.
A
So
lizard.
I think
A lizard person.
Now we're talking.
Now, here we go.
So this is the type of people it attracts,
the
right?
lizard people. We've started with flat Earth, and we're now to the lizard people that run the
Lizard
world.
people. So did you ever, when you were applying for the CIA, did you get to go in the secret temple?
Yeah.
The forest. It's a forest.
Did you
actually.
jerk off onto the when they were in the glass coffin?
I didn't. I did not.
Skull and bones.
I didn't get that far, guys.
No.
So yeah, I think that, I think anything is possible for someone to pretend to be, but it's not a good existence if you're just kind of faking it.
And you could feel it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe if I called in favors and was like, please help me get any kind of job, entry level, whatever.
Yeah.
I just want to work for this area.
Right. Because you know
I'm
Dick
sure-
Cheney. You're good friends with Dick
Great
Cheney.
friends with,
Yeah.
Dick Cheney. And that movie Vice was a load of crap, by the way.
He's a great guy.
Yeah, I got confused when it ended halfway through.
I thought that was creative.
And I yelled
like
at
that part.
I yelled at the movie and go, "How dare you confuse me?"
There was a lot of that. It got more confusing.
I was
after
at
that.
Court Street, so everyone was cool with that. Everyone's like, "The guy's got a point."
The other two people that came to see it at Cord Street.
Oh my god!
Yeah, that was interesting.
What
film.
job did you even want to be in the CIA?
Analyst, I guess that was the entry level. I didn't know a thing
You
about
didn't
what
know
people
anything.
do. No,
Was it-
spy. I mean, spy in another country would have been fun.
Spy.
But
That would have been
but
fantastic.
the guy I worked with wasn't a spy,
No,
He
the
was-
40-year-old was a spy.
and I don't know that he was 40. I feel really bad that I called
No,
him
he
40.
was 65. he was so fucking into
He
you.
had white arm hairs.
He combed over his arm hair to his head. It was fucking phenomenal. He was a hunk and a half. He was
There's
into
no way
you.
I'll ever see him again as long as I live. So I don't know why I'm trying to protect him.
No, don't.
But-
No, please protect the men that we don't know anymore. Please, if we leave doing anything, it's protect any man you've ever met in your life.
I know people are listening now, being like, "How do you even know he worked for the CIA?"
You know,
Hey, I can get you an in at the CIA.
you know why? He had a big sweatshirt that said CIA.
Exactly.
And you know, when I see someone with an FBI sweatshirt, I go, the one thing I know about that person is that they work at the FBI.
They're
That's right.
definitely in the FBI.
Oh my
The more
gosh.
you advertise it, the more that you are in secret.
Yeah, it reminds me of Jodie Foster jogging in Silence of the Lambs wearing an FBI
my God.
sweatshirt. Like, that's pretty much what I was picturing. If you're like, what job did you want? I wanted things I saw in movies.
It's
so
like a whole sweatsuit, isn't it? It's like an FBI sweatsuit.
maybe.
Gotta get one of those, man.
And so it sounds like, did your parents put pressure on like you to have a good job, or did you just put that pressure because everyone else?
They put I put that pressure on myself. I mean, they put pressure on me to get great grades
There
and
was a
do my
standard.
best.
Yeah.
There was a standard for sure. It was
yeah.
kind of like unacceptable to not, fulfill your own potential. For better or for worse,
Yes.
that was the message I got. So
But are they excited when you're like on TV and stuff like that?
absolutely.
Of course,
I see they never have wavered in their support. Never
Yeah.
once were they like, you need to pack it in. This is embarrassing.
Yeah, yeah.
Really?
I think they were always just hoping because they love me, know.
And also, you seem very happy. I mean, I don't know if that's true. I don't know if you go home and you know what I mean. I don't know.
I am, but not because of entertainment. I'm happy because I love my daughter.
'Cause you have
and
dogs and
I've
you
got
have
really awesome dogs.
yeah.
I get to eat Cheetos anytime I want. within
Yeah.
reason. I'm now reading a book about how Cheetos are maybe not the best thing for you to consume.
Right.
It's a whole book on Cheetos.
It's called I Quit Sugar, so it's pretty much a whole book on anything I've ever loved.
You're not eating sugar now, huh?
No, I'm reading about it. I'm still eating sugar.
Really? I
It's
haven't
hard.
eaten sugar for like 2 weeks right now.
2 straight weeks?
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
I cut I would drink diet soda. I just cut it, and I got like headaches.
It's as if you just lifted a car in front of me. Anybody that can actually accomplish this is
so
amazing.
hard.
I
to
have
me.
no self control, and I was able to do it. You know what?
That's cool.
Do you smoke weed?
No.
That helped
Did that
me.
help you?
Yeah, just because I needed some sort of vice.
Yeah, well, I've got vices. I'm like coffee. I sound Mormon
No,
right
coffee's
now.
good.
But like caffeine, obviously,
Yeah.
and like nail polish. I'm always like, but that's the thing.
Oh.
I don't want to turn it into some kind of other compulsion.
You should
No,
put the
but you
weed
could
thing in the
use-
book. Put the weed thing in the book. Chapter 1.
Yeah.
I think you could lean on other things as you adjust with.
Well, I think weed's just gonna lead me right back to Cheetos. Unfortunately.
Really,
If you get the munchies, what are you gonna
I've been slamming ice water.
do? Okay.
I
There
got
are
this.
so many layers to you.
I
I would never have thought that you would talk about this. Yeah,
What?
that's pretty cool.
cutting sugar and stuff like
And
that.
slamming ice water, and like ice water
Yeah.
being the alternative.
It's actually not bad if you're high. Ice water tastes a little better.
Yeah, I can see
See,
that.
Cheetos taste better when you're high, but so is shitty food,
Nice.
except dry food.
You should like. Oh, really? Broccoli,
If
but
you don't have
broccoli.
some-
Can you enjoy
Broccoli?
vegetables?
Yeah.
Like steamed vegetables.
Yeah. Also, I'm less hungry now after not eating sugar for 2 weeks.
That's
Your
cool.
body does crave it. So all my struggles right now with the sugar are just mental. Mm-hmm. They're not actually physical anymore, which is actually even harder.
How long does it go away? I mean, how long did the physical go away, like craving?
I don't know, a week and a half, 2 weeks.
Wow. I would have guessed like 90 days or whatever.
I mean, I'm sure I still feel it. I'm just lying to myself.
No. Let's not take you off the
I got
path.
headaches.
You're inspiring me right now.
No, I got headaches and I felt
my gosh, you have
tired
headaches
and
too?
And
Wow.
yeah, I the whole kit and caboodle. I got everything, and I would just smoke weed and like.
You know, weed has a lot of sugar in it.
Oh yeah. By the way, I wouldn't smoke weed. I would eat a tray of weed brownies. I would just keep eating them, and I was like, I'm off sugar, but this weed is fucking doing it for me. I got weed cookies. I got weed ice cream. Except
Right.
sometimes it doesn't have weed in it.
Gummy edibles. Yeah.
Sometimes I'm out of weed, so I just do the brownie part.
I know. I feel like, but for me, like sugar's infiltrated every area. So it's like if I cut sugar for, like, it's one thing to cut pastries at Starbucks, but it's another thing to be like, okay, no more gummy vitamins. Then you know,
Yeah.
like I have sugar. I've sucked like sweet and sour packets when I try not to eat sweets all day.
Of
I'll just
course.
like randomly, I'll just find myself doing that. I'm like, oh right, sugar.
I stopped chewing gum, and I'm a big gum guy because it has fake sugar in it.
Oh, even fake sugar.
Yeah, I've
like
been.
no artificial sweeteners.
Yeah,
for
I've
you.
been eliminating artificial sweeteners too.
That's good.
So even my coffee, I've been slamming black. Just
I love black coffee.
do you?
Yeah, that's a.
So that's gonna be easy.
Do you
for
ever
then.
sip, Sebastian, or is it just slamming?
No. You know what? My roommates make fun of me because we do tea at night sometimes. we just got tea,
Slams.
and I got
shots of tea.
Yeah, I got and they all have quotes. I got one of them in my pocket.
Let's hear it.
Hey, this is for me, not you.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm so kidding. I'm so
Probably
I'm
said say thank you every day. That's all.
so
it says.
kidding. It goes appreciate other people's questions. no, I'm fucking around. It says let things come to you, right? Yeah, I like that because I think I'm like too much. Like I'm like I need this now, right?
You chase things a lot?
Yeah, I chase things. I think I need to sit in moments more and just be like, oh, this is what's happening right now.
For sure.
This is beautiful. But basically, so we do teas at night sometimes, and they all sit there with their tea, and they're all patient.
tease.
And-
Who do you live with?
Dude, don't worry about it. My
It's a
buddy from
monastery.
I live with Mike Wazowski from Monsters Inc. No, so we do teas at night, and I'll just slam the fucking hot tea. I'll sip it. I'll go,
Wow.
I don't know. I just slam drinks.
Yeah.
I went to the movies last night, and it was the first time I was going to movies without a soda.
Yeah.
And I'm a fucking soda fiend at the movies.
Yes, I understand that.
And but I brought like a big thing of fucking seltzer,
Yes.
and I just drank a liter of seltzer so fast.
I hate having to hide things that you bring into the movie theater.
Yeah.
Don't you? Don't they
Yeah.
all know
Feel
that we
terrible.
all do it?
Yeah.
Yeah, why am I going to pay $8
Yeah.
for seltzer when I could get the same fucking one for $1 at the next door pharmacy?
Exactly. Right next door.
Yeah, it's right next door.
Right next door.
I hate the pretense of like wearing a bulky coat or bringing a giant purse.
know.
You should just be able to have it in your hand.
You should.
A seltzer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just big old bottle.
You could definitely do no sugar.
So
You seem
we'll
very
see.
disciplined.
Well, here's the other thing. This book I'm reading, and I found it on a stoop, so who knows? I found it like a week ago, and it's
That's
been
no
plaguing
good.
my mind.
That's no good when you find a diet book on a stoop.
Anytime, I know it didn't work for that family.
No, yeah.
Why
They
should it work
all
for
wind
me?
up on a stoop at some point.
But it says replace sugar with fat, and so a lot of dairy. And I'm lactose intolerant, so
Yeah.
I shouldn't be consuming a ton of dairy. So I see how every diet you take one thing out, you got to put something else in.
Right.
So
Well,
I don't know that I'm gonna do it.
Well, that's how
We'll see.
they took fat out, but they added like a ton of sugar, right? Like in the 80s, and that's how a lot of
That's why
bad
we're
stuff-
hooked.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why everyone's hooked. It's fucked in the head.
Yeah, I think and there's a sugar documentary. It's called The Sugar Movie or The Sugar Film. It's a great one. It kind of
Really?
opens your eyes to the chemical way it works in your
Well,
mind.
that dude, the sugar industry's working with that dude from the CIA to fucking, you know what I mean? Get the sugar and all. Just get us hooked on sugar. That's his goal. Scumbag.
Yeah. So anyway, well, I think it's like I'll probably learn how to do it in moderation, just like everything else.
Sure.
But
You're good at moderation?
Yeah. Eventually. Once I've learned about something.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so bad.
See, for my slamming of beverages, I'm not good at moderation.
It's hard for you to want to.
Yeah, I go in.
Well, a lot of habits. Do you ever try to look into the psychology behind it at all?
I go to therapy and I try to.
So
be
there is
thoughtful.
that too. I think anybody that's really struggling can
Uh-huh.
always find some kind of answer for it that traces back to your thought patterns or something.
Yeah.
Sure.
Your compulsions come from.
Probably, yeah, some emotional source. So anyway, yeah, this is more of just a general
Sugar talk. Welcome back to Sugar Talk.
sugar talk.
Yeah, I think we're dealing with sugar.
How to slam
sugar
ice
on
cubes.
What's up?
We're dealing with sugar on different what?
In different ways.
Maybe. Well, we'll talk more about it.
You guys got to get on the same page, honestly.
Yeah, I think my sugar intake is wild.
Yeah. Well, what's your willpower issue?
I really can't have sugar in my apartment.
Okay, so as long as it's outside of the house, you have better self-control.
Yeah, I can eat it if it's outside of the house, but if it's here, if I have a big fucking, I don't know, one time I had a bunch of licorice, maybe 5 pounds of licorice. And I just it was I'm going to have one thing. It was one of those bags that people get as a gift, you know?
Yeah.
That big heavy licorice. And I had one of them, and then I was I ate all of the licorice.
Yeah.
And my stomach hurt, and I kept eating the licorice.
Right.
So that's, but yeah, there's something behind that.
Yeah, where you're just I gotta do this.
You know it's bad when they got a Ziploc on the top of the candy bag, and you eat that by yourself. When they got a way to
The
seal
sign
it.
is to go back, leave it alone, come again later.
Yeah,
we'll keep it fresh for you.
Oh yeah, they keep it fresh because it's supposed to last for years and years.
Exactly.
You should take this from New York to California to find gold. But me, I slam it during a 90-minute movie.
Yeah.
It's like when you ever order Seamless or some shit like that, and they show up, it's just for you, and they got 4 forks in the bag.
Yeah.
It's fuck off.
You're ouch.
Yeah, it's no forks, please.
So yeah, portion control is not my issue. It's more frequency of and different ways of sneaking it in. Pancakes, it's one thing. Okay, you're gonna have pancakes for breakfast. The pancakes themselves have sugar. Yeah, but I want to add syrup, and I'm not gonna quantify how much syrup.
Sure,
right.
And also orange juice, which is more sugar.
Yes.
And then if I have home fries, I want ketchup, which is more sugar.
Yeah.
It's just different areas. Sugar's gonna
Yeah.
be creeping in all the way.
Yeah, it's really hard to avoid. It's so hard to avoid.
Chicken palm sugar.
Yeah, the marinara sauce.
Ugh, even the fucking
Or
breading.
the breading,
breading,
too.
yeah.
Oh,
Yep.
God.
Yep.
Damn it.
It's insane.
It's insane. It's insane.
There's a recipe in this book salted caramel halloumi with apples, and the salted and caramel are put in quotations.
Ugh.
And all it is halloumi cheese, which is a fat looking mozzarella type square.
Yeah.
And you put that in a griddle and you season it with salt. So there's no sugar whatsoever. There's no caramel.
Oh my
It gets
God.
caramelized.
Yes.
Right.
And then you eat that with apples, and supposedly that's your dessert. I don't know.
You kind of close your eyes and just.
Well, you've been to Europe, right?
Yes. Yeah, they do. They finish a meal with
cheese, right?
so.
Cheese is the you have that with a cup of coffee and then you go for a walk for 4 hours. Right?
I don't know
Isn't
if I'm
that how
helping
it
this
goes?
woman promote her book or if I'm putting it down anytime I talk about it. I'm I'm reading this book and I hate every page. No.
Do you read it on the subway?
No, just at home.
That's an at-home book. Yeah, I would say that's an at-home book. You don't want to be vigorously reading.
But it's got me sucked in because it's gorgeous photos. It's Instagram in a book, essentially.
Ugh.
She looks great. The recipes look great.
Right.
The writing is clear. It's oh yeah, this could be my life.
Yeah, sometimes you do get food and you're oh, I could do this. If I go to this restaurant all the time, I could totally not eat sugar.
Exactly.
Yes.
But you can't do that.
You ever watch Queer Eye?
Yeah.
Yeah,
They'll teach someone how to roast Brussels sprouts And you're like, oh yeah, I should eat this all the time. It's like, yeah, but logistically, you're not going to buy them every single time. And you need a chef's knowledge to make all this great stuff week over week. But I do think it's possible. And I'm trying to work on my cooking skills for sure.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm trying to do it before my daughter can develop memories. Because if I stay a bad cook, it's going to be like...
she's going to be pissed.
You know, my mom was a good cook. And that really, it went straight to my heart.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Do you like cooking? Other stuff.
I love cooking.
Yeah, you love cooking?
And baking. Yeah, I like the whole process.
Ugh. I do too, but I don't. I fuck up. I just do like a lot of loose meat.
Yeah, no. Same here. I don't have a high technical level.
No.
Like, I just learned how to hold a knife a year ago. Like, not like putting your finger on it while you're cutting, just like gripping it this way.
What is loose meat?
I think you mean just like you take some ground beef and you crumble it in a skillet, and that's the
loose meat. I throw a little cheese on it and fucking put it in a bowl. What do you mean? And maybe I put a salad on the side.
I do that, or I mix it with like rice and peas and be like, that's the meal.
Yeah, or the loose meat is just chicken. So
Patrick
it's bigger
is so
loose
much far above us.
it's bigger loose meat.
So it's not loose meat if there's bread involved. As soon as there's bread involved,
unless it's a sloppy
confined.
Joe.
It's confined meat.
A sloppy Joe is confined though. No, as soon as bread's involved, the meat's not loose no more.
Yeah, that's true. I guess.
But here's the thing: is a steak loose meat?
It's its own chunk.
I think it's an individual. You can't because it's not.
It's neither
it needs
loose
to be
meat.
multiple.
Yeah.
If it was chunks of steak, it would be loose meat.
Yes.
So 2 pieces of chicken's loose meat. 1 piece of chicken is just meat.
One chicken breast.
1 chicken breast is meat.
What about like 2 chicken thighs?
We're talking loose.
We're talking loose meat.
You shred it up. You got loose meat.
Yeah. You're always so close to loose meat. And that's what my dinners are. I eat a bunch of loose meat, maybe a veggie, and then I fucking slam a tea, and I smoke weed until I can't. Until I fall asleep, and I wake up. I go, wait, I fell asleep.
Abby, do you want to plug anything?
Great. Yeah. Well, I guess do you know when this is coming out?
2 weeks.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I guess if it hasn't aired yet, look for me on the Late Show with Stephen Colbert.
Yes, awesome.
They're not going to announce my name on the program. You're just going to have to look for me, but it's like an Easter egg. Try to find me. And then, let's see, gigs coming up. You can check out curlycomedy.com. I've got some spots at Greenwich Village Comedy Club.
Nice.
I'm going to be in the Connecticut Comedy Festival. It's the very first one, and I'll be performing at the Fairfield Comedy Club in Connecticut. So, yeah. Check me out on Twitter at Curly Comedy and Instagram at Curly Comedy, and you'll get all those updates.
It's always good to see you.
Heck yeah, man.
Amazing.
It's fun to hang out with you guys.
Yeah, thanks for doing this. That's awesome.
You.
All right, guys, we love you. Thanks for listening. What did you want to say, Sebastian? You want to plug something?
No. All right, peace.
Thank you for listening to Who You Were. Please subscribe, rate, and review. Guest before and after pics on Instagram at Who You Were Podcast. Send your before and after pics to whouywerepodcast@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter at Who You Were Podcast. This podcast is produced independently. If you'd like to support it, please visit patreon.com/PatrickNoth. Thanks for listening.